Hello, I'm Cody Foyo, and this is Keeping Score Games. First and foremost, please like, subscribe, and share, because if I don't get more followers, I can't keep doing these kind of things for companies, because they won't get enough exposure. Second thing, I want to give a massive thank you for Atomic Mass Games having sent us so much stuff to work with, and I want to apologize to them for not starting on it sooner. I had to get paints, glues, learn a little bit, things like that before I could do this, but we are going to start working on it today. The first thing I'm going to try to assemble, because I will not be painting them today, I need my fiance's help to use the acrylics, because she knows how to do that. I'm going to work on putting together the Defenders Affiliation Pack. Now, you get Doctor Strange, you get Wong, you get Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. This is a great box. Atomic Mass was very generous, so I have this and a couple other boxes, including the core games for Star Wars Shattered Front, I think it is, or Shattered Point, I can't remember which right off the top of my head, and of course the Crisis Protocol core game. So, we're going to get started. I'm going to turn the camera down to the table so you can see what I'm working with and trying to do. I don't know how many of these I'm going to try to assemble today, but I'm going to try to assemble all 5. All right, let's get started. So the only thing I've removed from the package is the plastic, of course. Don't mind a few sound effects here and there. I apologize, I forgot to get my microphones. Let's see what we got here. So, we have an information pamphlet that says read this first. Okay, it says stop. Before assembling, use the QR code to visit atomicmassgames.com/assembly and download the assembly instructions. Be sure to use a pair of sharp hobby clippers to remove the miniature components from the sprue. Carefully clean excess material and mold lines with a sharp hobby knife. Check the fit of each part before gluing. Use a small amount of hobby plastic glue to assemble the components. Use caution with all products and follow all manufacturer instructions. Adult supervision is recommended. Well, I can't do that while I record this, so I'll just do, the simpler molds. We'll see what's in here. So it looks like right here we have the sprue for Luke Cage. So he's got 2 legs, his core, his arms, and then the dirt and iron bit that you stand on the base. So let me see what I can do about getting these off cleanly. That's a pretty clean removal. Also a pretty clean removal. As is his arms. I will trim those off with this box knife over here. His base piece came off fairly well. We got a leg. We've got another leg. Then, of course, we've got the iron that he is just wrecking on his base there. So I'm going to go ahead and do my best to trim these safely. That one's done. Let's trim the little sprue marks off of this one. That one's good. Up here. Seems good. There's a sprue mark on this one. It's not as bad because you won't see it. It'll be inside, I believe, but it is there. That one's now good. sounds good. Let me see if I can scoot the camera in. Oh, I can't zoom out in this, but that's fine. Or zoom in, it says. All right, I tried. Once I get, more money and a job, I will be able to work on this a lot better because I'll be able to support it and buy the tools I need. To put them together. So I guess the first thing you got to do is assemble some legs. So they're going to go together like, see how they'll assemble like this? And that'll go up into his core. So I guess I get the glue out. Oh, the terrifying part, because once you start doing this, it's permanent. We're using Fit Dye plastic glue, which is the brand my fiance picked up. It looks like it comes with a little dripper, which is nice. My hands are notoriously bad at being shaky. And that sucks. But it is what it is. Sorry, I'm not working my hands down there as much. I apologize. This is the first time I've tried to do an assembly video. And it's the first time in a long time I've assembled minis. Because... Now I'm going to try and glue together his body with the legs. Thank God there's a pin strip for adhesion, because if not, we would be in bad shape with my hands. So while I try to get that started, I'm going to go ahead and put glue in here, because that is the primary spot, at which case this thing is going to attach to its other half. And I will put some glue on that piece as well, and here, and over on here, because this is going to be a permanent attachment, I hope. As you can see, Luke Cage is probably the simplest model in this set. But when they did the new Avengers run after Avengers Disassembled, that's when I became a big fan of Luke Cage as a character, simply because he is, he's a family man. He's had a rough past, of course, because he's a Marvel character, period. And it's just, he's a really good character, and I really like him, so I'm glad to get around to assembling him. Boris, what are you doing? My apologies. My dog decided to be himself. Now his arms go on like this, so I'm going to get a little bit of glue here. On this little attach point. Maybe a little bit of glue here on the edge of each arm. The good thing is my fiance is supposed to help me get all this painted, which is intimidating because there's such well-known characters. And I think I was trying to put his arms on backwards. So yeah, that's how that works. Okay. I really got to get better about staying in camera. I apologize, folks. And there we have it. One tiny assembled Luke Cage. Next up appears to be Wong. He also appears to be the next most complicated piece. Yay! I'll probably only work on these two on camera so I can download the instructions for, like, you know, Strange and Daredevil and Fist, because they all have, like, extra stuff that I think is going to be really difficult to make work. As you can see, I lack clippers currently, at least ones that aren't for some other purpose. So I'm going to cut through this with a utility knife. At least enough to kind of let it do that. Let's see. I can pop this one out, it looks like. Definitely pop this one out. I will say that Atomic Mass has amazing quality minis. You know, they have gone above and beyond with their quality, and they have an amazing game around it too, which I can't wait to get played some more and review for everybody. This is another one of those put the body together, but put the legs in first things. All right, let's see what I can do here. Obviously, these go together like this. So first I'm going to trim off the excess plastic here. I actually think the piece that's going to be the easiest to put on first is that little hand. Mostly because I don't want to lose it. Also, gosh darn it, his head is over here. Okay, well, his hand and his head actually will be easier to put together than his legs and body, I believe. I don't even know where the fire goes yet. I gotta look at the picture. I believe this is attached to the other side of this, like so. And this is a base piece that goes under his feet, and his foot attaches that little spot right there. See, that's where his foot will go. So it'll go, judging from the picture, it goes like this. Yeah. This is Wong's attach point, guys, right there. Just that little bit of space. Oh, that's scary. Okay. Right now I'm going to go for the smallest parts. I think I'm going to try to put his head on like that. Yeah, it goes with him facing front like on the box. So that's not too bad. We'll get a little glue into the hole. I think when I go to paint these, with my fiance's help, of course, we're going to try painting them comic book accurate for modern comics, I guess. So maybe like what they look like on the box, unless I see some sort of alternative paint scheme with the same clothes. Maybe I'll ask Elizabeth if she wants to brighten up Doctor Strange's magic circle a bit with some colors. The good thing is the head's attached. The bad thing is some of my skin is too. Oh well, folks, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Thank God my fiance is going to paint these with me. Though to be fair, she might end up just being the one that paints them by herself. Because I may suck at that really, really bad. Hey, Kat, you know what I don't need right now? I don't need you. Say hello, Winston. You're on camera. Hello, Winston. Go on the floor. Thank you. This, of course, also comes with the cards and the chits and the things required to play these characters as part of the game. I believe, if I remember the rules correctly, that you need... This should be enough to play a Defender's team, I guess is what the word for it will be. Okay, so his hand faces up. Oh, good Lord. That is a very delicate, tiny attach point, guys. Almost tweezer worthy. Problem is I don't have my tweezers. Let me see if I can do it without tweezers real quick. Okay, so no, I'm going to have to get tweezers for this. I can, however, attach the other arm. Probably attach the legs first, it looks like, so we can attach the body. So it looks like, see how these are going to go together like this? I'm concentrating very hard on keeping my fingers and hand somewhat steady. This is probably a project I should have left to my fiance, but you know what it is. I'm actually going to make it a little more natural because this is where I tend to want to do my work. So this, you'll be able to see these better now. I apologize. Okay, so the legs need to dry for a moment, or we'll have the same problem I have with Luke Cage, which is that he moves around a little. I mean, you could almost snap that piece of him together if you look, but the glue is what's going to settle it, so you gotta do the glue, so to speak. Slight layer there, slight layer on itself. And then you start putting them together. I'm going to hold that until it starts to fuse. Shouldn't be too long. And then while it's doing that, we're going to come in here and attach Actually, that side goes there. And this side will attach there. I'm having a day, aren't I? Okay. Let's try that again. I'm going to have to clean these guys up with a little sandpaper. So there is what I've got of Wong so far. Now, I know I talked a little bit about Luke Cage and why I liked him, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Wong. We all know Wong from the MCU. Some of us know Luke Cage from the MCU. He's just, even in the comics, like the movie version of Wong is phenomenal. I cannot state how much I like him. The comic book version is a little more stoic, not quite as funny, but still a very good character. I enjoy where they've taken him over the years. And he rarely does he take like center stage in a conflict or anything, because he's Doctor Strange's, most of the time, assistant, you know, so he's one of those characters that over the years has gotten more use, and probably a little more popular, and I'm going to blame that solely on the MCU, of course, because it is. Marvel Comics' popularity at the moment is due to their MCU films and TV shows. I mean, as much as people like to say, we don't like those movies, they still watch them secretly in the basement. All joking aside. So yeah, it kind of slides in there to fit. So I'm going to put some glue in the gap, but I'm not going to put a lot. You know, I'm just going to try to put a drop of glue. A little slash of glue, perhaps. There it is. Okay. So with that in there, I'm going to try to slide a little glue maybe on this flat part up here where his shoulders meet. And we're just going to kind of get it where it needs to go here. And it's going to slide into the gap and onto his shoulder, which is actually much harder to hold in place than I anticipated. My fingers are going to look like I've been super gluing, which is never good. That just means I'm going to have a lot of glue on them. Fortunately, I'm not made of plastic, so it shouldn't eat through my skin. All right, let's see here. Now we kind of, now I got to put his arm on and glue his flame, but he's coming together pretty well, honestly. I didn't expect Wong to be quite as easy as he's turned out. Hold on for 1 minute. I'm going to find some tweezers, because I've got some somewhere. Stay, Boris. Actually, I found some snippers for the plastic too, see? That's very useful. A set of tweezers that I don't use on my eyebrows. Let's see here, tweezers. So my fiance has an unlimited amount of just cool stuff that she does outside of helping with the game channel. And that means I gotta go through a lot of stuff. So I apologize for not being on camera. Just give me a moment, because I don't think I can do that hand without assistance from a smaller device. Not there, not there. there. My life for tweezers. Ha ha. My life for tweezers. So I've got some little grabby tweezers here. Boris, can I ask you to step off? Hi, buddy. Don't mind the dog. He's cute. Hey, did anybody happen to see what happened to that hand, by the way? Crap. Oh, boy. Oh. Thank... Careful where you put the tiny, tiny piece. Oh, no. All right. So now that Wong has started to dry, Boris, what do you want? You can't eat the cat. This thing is like playing Russian roulette with a hand. All right, we're going to do this. Or not. I'm totally going to make this work. At least you guys are going to get a laugh if you watch this. Because I'm not great at putting together the minis. Mostly my arm shakes like I'm going to die. All right, so we're going to put some glue in that tiny spot right there. Thank God for the dripper on this thing. And then it's going to go on his wrist, hand facing up. Like so. Honestly, that worked a little better than I thought it would. Oh, sorry, a little high. See? Now I'm going to wait till that dries before I set it down, because knowing my luck, I'll set it down and the hand will pop off. Because that's what happens to me every time. Boris, buddy, calm down. You've been outside a few times. Just chill. Just chill. You're okay. Don't steal my plastic drippers. Dude. Don't steal my drippers. This is what he wants. When he wants attention, he just sets his hand there. Hi. Oh, big dog. Could you do me a favor? Can you back up just an inch, maybe two? Okay, so now I gotta put together the flame of Wong here. Now if I'm gonna do this correctly, I've got to check and see if the flame can go together before Wong goes on the flame, or if the flame cannot be put together pre-Wong. Oh yeah, no, the flame can totally go together. So we're going to do what we usually do. I'm going to screw it up somehow, but I'm not going to try, I promise. All right, so we're going to put the glue right in the hole. And then we're going to put it in place. I'm going to drop it because I'm a loony. We're going to put it in place. That was the hardest piece. I don't know why. My hands just... Yeah, see, they're not real stable. I can play and teach games. assembling them at a minute level like this is tough, but I want to learn and I want to get better at it because I want to work with Atomic Mass as long as they'll have me, because I love what they do there, and helping them out is about the only way I can afford to get the things they make. So it's a symbiotic, happy relationship here. To be fair, helping out board game companies is the only way I can afford to get games right now anyway. So, you know, do the best you can. Hey, looky there. So that's his backside. That's his front side. When I get him on a base, he's going to look awesome once he's painted. I have to decide, or well, my fiance has to decide, whether she wants to do the painting before I do the base or after. I can't believe I did that. So the only thing I don't love about this model is the fact that there's only one contact point here between him, the flame, and then the flame and the base. But as long as you treat him with respect, get him painted and put him in a bag that's got foam, you know, just make him look nice, he'll be fine. Okay. Daredevil's going to be another one of those that he's really on just a little piece of plastic holding him there. So that is a much easier way to get these off the sprue, by the way. Just try not to shoot the poor guy's leg all the way over there, eh? Gravestone half one. Gravestone half two. Oh, at least the whip is like attached to an arm already, so that's not too bad. That should actually make or not the whip. I forget what do you know? Answer in the comments what the heck they called Daredevil's ropey tonfa dealio. Because I don't remember what they're called. I didn't even know if I assume there's a real life analog. I assume it really exists. But I don't know for sure. It is comic books after all. They've invented mini weapons in the days. No one-eyed kitties need to be up here. It's hard enough without a cat. Ah! Daredevil's down. Well, his front half at least. So the next thing I'm going to try to conquer is I'm going to try to get together with Warhammer. Boy, that'll give me the shakes for years. But I would really like to work with them sometime, too. All right, let's see. We've got bits and pieces, and time to trim the trims. Oh, we're going to have to fix that. Those are great for getting it off there. I'm going to use the knife for trimming, though, because I don't trust the clippers anymore. Boris, buddy, you're going to have to wait. I got to get this one together before I can take a look at the other one. And the other one will be pretty rough, I assume. Alright, so you got to put this together before you can put Daredevil together, because this one is going to put a little whatever in it. While I'm doing that, I'll trim the little bits off the base here. So see, it's got a nice, well, mostly flat bottom now. This piece will get glued, and if you look, there's a little hole right there where Daredevil will attach, which I'm not going to bother right now because, well, you know. Oh boy. I messied up, folks. There was a little peg on the bottom of his foot that I thought was, well, you know, one of the little things to trim off. Hee hee. I'll have to do it the hard way then. So his foot will have to rest kind of boot tip, I think. Yeah, tip of boot. Sorry, I gotta check the box. Yeah, tip of boot facing slightly out. So like that, maybe? I don't know, I might have my fiance do that part. The legs, of course, will go together, because they always seem to do that way, which is good. I like that. Consistency is nice when I'm working with models that I am not properly equipped physically to put together, but you know, what do I do? Boris, I will pause in a moment and take you out. All right, folks, I'm going to pause right here. I'll be right back. Okay. Hello, and I'm back. All right. Let's see if I can't save me a Daredevil, huh? I will say the plastic glue is more forgiving than I anticipated. It's not my favorite thing to manipulate, but it is necessary for this particular hobby. So actually, I must say that torso, that's the best torso I've put on so far. Holy crud. Look at that! I got his body together. Ask me, that's something. I'll take a win with the body going together at this point, you know? I'd also like to talk about what else Atomic Mass sent us. So they sent us Dark Phoenix, which is Jean Grey with some of her, with her Dark Phoenix form, and we got Apocalypse. And I mean, so those are, usually you take on, squads, but I believe Thanos, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, those are a little different. I'll have to go over those rules as we, assemble them in the next week or so. Because I'm going to try to do this today with this box and do another one on Friday. And then I'll have, next week, I'll do the remaining. So I'm going to focus on Atomic Mass a little bit right now to get these things assembled so they can get painted on video. After that, I'll look at some other games we have with reviews and things. And then eventually I will review this. And I'm trying to, I've got a couple of local stores that would like me to bring this in and teach people how to play. So, no complaints from me. I'm always happy to get more coverage for the people that trust me with their games. So that's what's coming up for Atomic Mass. This is probably, working with Atomic Mass is, I was going to say probably, but is undoubtedly the biggest project I've ever had for this channel yet. And, I just want to make them happy because I love their games, and I want to make them happy because they deserve all the kudos they can get. Those guys work their butt off to make this product for us. So and, one thing I'm sure, if you asked anybody that's in board games, video games, or any other art field, working on a licensed product is probably one of the hardest things you can do because you don't have that same level of freedom with ideas and things for when you're creating your own stuff. So, Daredevil has to have a certain look, a certain color, certain abilities. All of that stuff comes into play when you're trying to, make these games. So every little thing they do probably has to go through some form of verification process and a review process that it's going to go through before they're even allowed to talk about printing it. Boris, come here. What are you doing? Come here. Buddy, what are you eating in there? He licked my lips. I'm going to put on the other arm first because that's easier than trying to stick a head on him at the moment. The head's going to be another tweezer job, I think. I always have to figure out how the piece goes on before I try to glue it. Mostly because, I only get one shot here. So you either glue good or you glue bad, and you have to fix it some other way. I mean, could you shave off the piece somehow? or pull it apart and do it again. Not really. This is plastic glue. So, and the reason they call it plastic glue, if any of you've not ever used it, is because its entire purpose, its chemical compound, doesn't just attach the glue, or doesn't just attach the pieces together like super glue would. It actually bonds the plastic. It melts it together or fuses it so that it's not supposed to come off again. And if you want to know, well, why don't they just put the figure together at the factory? By doing it in separate parts like this, they're allowed to get a higher level of detail. Boris, come back. They're going to be able to get a higher level of detail in the figures, which, you know, for a miniature skirmish game like this, or Shatterpoint, or Legion, or Warhammer, or what the heck is my dog eating now? I'll be right back. Well, I'm back again to the chair. Sorry about the stuff like that. It happens. Got dog, cats, you know, life. I'm gonna put some on the neck here. I'm gonna use the tweezers to grab this tiny little skull of his. And we're going to finally destroy the daredevil. Sorry, little kingpin there. Get him, bullseye. Let's see. So his head is at a bit of an angle. Gee, mini Christmas. That's going to be rough. Oh. Sorry. His head is at an angle. So what I need to do is get the body in the right angle here. Gonna have to do it with my fingers. Oh boy, now he's stuck to me. Putting together models is terrifying to me. But this one is starting to come together pretty well. It's so small. Why is it so small? Really rough to get that head on there, man. About to say we can just have a headless daredevil model. Put a little skull on him or something. Now I gotta do it right. This is one of the more frustrating aspects of it. Now this isn't something that's now I do want to go out and say right now Atomic Masses models are way easier to put together than pretty much any other model I've dealt with. And I haven't done a ton of models, but I've done a few minis for, you know, different games. And by far, Atomic Masses are the simplest. And it's not anything to do with the quality. They've just got smart attach points. They know where to put it so it's not completely impossible to put together. Thank you. So there you have it. We've got a daredevil. His head's attached. He looks pretty good, doesn't he? I'll have to go in and ask Elizabeth to fix this little point of plastic right here. Other than that, he's looking pretty darn cool. And this is supposed to go under the arm, so I love that dynamic pose like that. And they have him on a tombstone, which, how appropriate, right? So I'm going to try to see how they're putting him on this tombstone. I think it's just literally his foot goes over that little spot there. Okay, we'll see if I can make this work. So I'm going to put some on the foot. Put some more in the tombstone and on the spot around it. Take his tiny little man piece of a Daredevil hero. And try to fuse that together right there. It looks like it's gonna work. I will forever be scared of this attach point. Oh, come on, fuse together. Come on. I don't believe that worked. All right, so I'm just going to leave him like that on his little gravestone so he can dry. That was a toughie. Oh, okay. This is going to go a little long. I apologize. I just want to kind of figure out how to get the main pieces of these together. So this is Iron Fist's foot with the big... So that's going to be attached to him. That's like a flame or a dragon energy thing coming off of him. It's like dragon punch kick something or other. I don't remember what it's called. I'm sure it's got a name in the comics. Absolutely sure of that. I'm also absolutely sure I have no idea how to pronounce or say it or what it is off the top of my head. Because Iron Fist is one of those characters. So I didn't talk a lot about Daredevil. Let me fix that issue right now. Daredevil is one of those characters that everybody kind of knows about. And I read Daredevil when I was younger. I did not realize just how incredible a character Daredevil could be until I saw Charlie Cox play Daredevil. Because that man, oh boy, he knows how to play a role. Don't get it wrong, I'm really impressed by the Daredevil show. And I'm super impressed with what they're doing with him in the comics, too. Now, for Iron Fist, his like live action show wasn't great, which is probably why they're not planning on renewing that particular version of Iron Fist, I don't think. However, his comics are really cool. And I love him as part of the Defenders. And I love when they use him for some, they always bring him in with a solo run that's really solid. He is a Mystic Warrior from, not Carmartage, that's Daredevil. Crud. Don't remember where he's from. He's from a city, though, like a mystical city. Oh, I'm not going to like putting this together already. Haha. Ow. That piece of plastic hurts. Anyway, he's got like this ancient dragon spirit in him that gives him like ultimate kung fu powers. You know, it sounds like most comic book powers. It sounds a little ridiculous on paper or when it's said out loud, but boy, does it make an awesome visual story. Once again, he was another character that I really got exposed to during the new 50, not the new 52, that's DC. During the new Avengers and the Mighty Avengers arc and all of that stuff. Back when that was going on, I was getting comic books weekly. I was having them directly delivered to my apartment. Or no, I was still at home a little bit, so I had them delivered to my mom's and dad's. So I really liked that run because it was the only time, you know, for the first 40 issues of New Avengers and Mighty Avengers, I was current on comics for the first time in my life. And it felt really good to me. So comic books are really hard on me because I'm a completionist mindset. I'm like, if I'm missing part of the story, I have to read it, even if it's not the most directly related plot line. So it's really hard on me when Marvel and DC do these big events and I always just essentially wait until the trade paperbacks at that point. Because if I tried to get every issue as it came out, it would be more expensive. It would be ridiculous because I'd have to get, 50 comic books a month, which my wallet says no, but my mind says yes. So that's primarily my reason I do trade paperbacks instead of going with single issues. But yeah, I remember a lot about Iron Fist from the new the new Avengers. I really liked that run for a lot of these characters because it was their chance to shine on a higher level as an Avengers team, which I thought was pretty darn cool. I know not everybody loves the idea of a comic book team up movie or whatever, or comic, but I like getting to know my characters, a bunch at a time working together because it's such a unique dynamic compared to the one-off issues that they tend to make for just the everyday comic. Now, they do a really good job now of making, and have for a long time, I think, of making sure that the solo comics are equally as good and equally as important. I just like a team up because, I'm a nerd and I like to see all my heroes working together or sometimes biting each other in the face. It just depends on how they're doing. Had a little problem with his legs there. The one fit in the hole and stayed, and the other one decided, I don't want to be attached to that anymore. So I have to persuade it to reattach, which is a bit of a problem at such an angle. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm going to make it work because it needs to work, because this needs to go together and look good. It might not be so bad if it wasn't for a thing, but since I'm doing this for Atomic Mass, it has to look good. Thank God I paint these afterwards, because I'm going to have to get some glue off of everywhere and fill in a few little gaps. Did I ever tell you all gluing these together is stressful? Because it really is. It's very stressful. I'm going to let that dry for a second, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's up with this game. So, Atomic Mass makes Marvel Crisis Protocol. These minis are your characters that you're going to play in battles against each other. It's a 1v1 skirmish game, primarily. I think there's a couple other gameplay modes that you can do. I have demoed it at Gen Con twice, and then decided I wanted to cover it because it looks like something that's going to be incredibly fun. It's a miniature skirmish game. So you've got cards. Every unit costs a certain amount of, I think they cost a certain amount of points, is it? I gotta go over the rules, because I have not played in a while. But everybody's going to have, you know, their different powers that are on their card. You're gonna have a deck of cards with abilities and things you can play. So we'll take a look while that dries at Daredevil. So this is what his card will look like. So you've got that side, and then you've got that side. And as you can tell, they do put the impetus on different things. So I'm not sure what each side of the card means necessarily, but it looks cool. And the abilities are on there. Every character has cards like that. And then you'll get a deck of cards kind of like this. So, for instance, you can kind of tell this is French. Is that French? Yes. Or something like that. Oh, it's got multiple languages. All right, I got you. Aha. Okay, so these are in languages I don't know, so I'm going to put them back in the bag. For instance, so here's your Heroes for Hire card, which I love the art on these cards too. So it says Heroes for Hire, unaffiliated, and reactive. When an allied character is targeted by an attack and is within 3 spots, or I assume that means range, within 3 of an allied Luke Cage and or an allied Iron Fist, that allied character may spend 2 energy to play this card. Place an allied Luke Cage or Iron Fist that is within 3 of that allied character within 1 of that allied character, so you will move closer to them. The placed character becomes the target of the attack. After that attack is resolved, if the placed character is not dazed and the attacking character is 3 or less of that symbol, the placed character may throw the attacking character away. That's pretty neat. You get Street Smarts, which I actually like this card. I like the art on this a lot because it's got Misty Knight and I think Colleen Wing on it. So during the power phase, any number of allied defenders' characters may each spend 1 to play this card. This round, while a character that played this card is holding or contesting an objective token, if it would be pushed, advanced, or thrown, it may suffer 1, I believe, physical damage. If it does, it is not pushed, advanced, or thrown. So, and then we've got this cool Iron Fist. Oh, look at the art on this, guys. My goodness, I like that. That's Clea, if I remember correctly. And she's going to show up again. You saw her at the end of Doctor Strange. Oh, and there's the old one. Another cool looking card. Seven Sons of Cinnabus. Pentagram of Farala. Now what's interesting is you get 2 Infinity Gems in here. Now we've got the Soul Gem, which is pretty cool, and we've got an Infinity Gem of Time. Now I'm going to assume other characters use gems too, but I don't know yet, so this is neat. I will have a video that specifically goes over the rules at a later date. as I learn them. Let's see, or relearn them, I should say. I like the way the head on this one goes in, though. That's really nice because it has a little slot to fit into, so it just slides right on in. Check that out. Oh, so the head went on good. The other arm shouldn't be too bad either. It looks like it's got a place to go. So it looks like, yes, okay. So this arm slides right on in there. So we're going to fill that gap with some glue. See, very nice. Now these two little pieces of plastic right here go on the base. And since I will not be basing them before Elizabeth gets home, the tiny pieces of plastic that are not attached to people are going to go in the bag so that I can find them later. So Luke Cage, your plastic will go in there. I am almost terrified of putting Doctor Strange together, but we're going to make an attempt at it. You know why? Because I don't know when to quit. And of course, this is the Danny Rand Iron Fist. I don't know that any of the alternate Iron Fists have made it into a figure from Crisis Protocol yet. That'd be a Google I need to do when we're done. Yeah, this is definitely the Danny Rand Iron Fist, which is great because that's the one I know. Rumor has it we're going to see an Iron Fist pop up in the Wakanda animated show. Or we did see an Iron Fist, I believe, show up in Eyes of Wakanda. I'm trying to remember. I watched the whole thing and I'm trying to remember what it's like. Yeah, no, Eyes of Wakanda definitely had a Danny Rand show up. So, not Danny Rand, but an Iron Fist. So these are your bases. What I like about these bases, as opposed to some others, is that these have actual like texture and detail on them, so you don't have to make that all up yourself. Now, could you go in and add dirt or grass or whatever to these? You can. I don't know how to really well, so I'm not going to, but you can. So the good news is that's not for Doctor Strange, which means I don't feel so bad about the thing. So I'm going to take Strange's back off. Or no, that's Strange's chest. Strange also has this little important cape, which is its own character, essentially. Everybody loves Strange's cape. It's actually, it's a certain, I forget what they called it. It's been a while. But it's got like a name. The cape of something, in Doctor Strange fashion, you know. It's not a magic comic book unless you throw out some spells and name everything. Which is exactly what you want to do when you're making a comic book about magic, because it's great. The idea is to enjoy yourself with comic books. You do not have to get every detail right. You don't have to be perfect. And it's the same thing here. I mean, I'm making a video about putting these together, and I am by far not the best example of how to get these together. I am doing it, I'm winging it, essentially, which I'm not a real big fan of, but it is what it is. I may not be able to get all of Doctor Strange together without the instructions on the website, though, so we'll see. He's unarmed. Ba, 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 ba. Ha, ha, ha. I'm really funny, right? No, I'm not. This is something important. It doesn't show exactly where it goes on the box. That's definitely a hand there. And this is part of the sash on his body. You can see it on the box when I show it to you again. See how he's got this sash coming off? That is that little piece right there.